Sorry about that. I don't know why Zoom now does that.
So welcome to this gentle yoga class. If you'd like to come to lying on your backs, please. Do flip on your videos if you want to, but no need to. I'm taking a few moments to settle with your feet standing on the floor. And as you gather your attention into your body, noticing what's here for you this morning, sensations, feelings, emotions. The sense of your level and quality of energy. And these are questions you explore not with your mind, but through the body. How's your breath? Does your breath feel like a smooth and simple flow in and out of the body? Or does it maybe feel a bit caught up in places, not quite free and smooth? And what might it be like to soften all the tissues of your face and throat? And drop your attention into the space of your heart. Behind the breastbone. And if you would like to, from this space of the heart, Hridaya Kash, be allowing an intention for your practice to bubble up, a sankalpa. Really bringing that intention into the focus of every cell of your body. Allow it to disperse whilst being focused, so that you become your sankalpa. And then beginning to notice the points of contact with the mat, your feet, the back of your pelvis, the back of your ribs and shoulders, your arms and hands. And in particular, really feeling through the back of the head so that your head becomes, or you sense your head becoming more heavy than usual. Almost dropping through the floor. And from here, begin to very gently roll your head to one side. And at some point, rolling it back to the center to roll to the other side. And the slower you can go, the more beneficial it will be for your nervous system, but also for the subtle awareness of the vertebrae of your neck and the sensations on the back and the sides of your head. And I'm quite interested if you can notice that as you take this very simple movement with the neck and the head, if you feel a a softening and a letting go of the muscles at the top of your thighs, the front of your pelvis. Kind of the area where your thighs meet the front of your upper body. And the lower belly, and the front wall of your pelvis. Can you soften there? Really feel the soles of your feet. And then allow your head to rest in neutral. And bring your arms over to rest on the floor behind you. Only if that is comfortable for your shoulders, only if you're able to really soften into all the tissues around the shoulders and the shoulder blades. Maybe even sensing a fanning out of your shoulder blades on the floor and a softening of the wrists and the palms. And when you're ready, beginning to move your knees forwards towards your toes in such a way that you roll over your tailbone. You create a very small arch in the lower back, but without lifting the hips and the bottom off the floor. And then gently draw your knees towards you. You're still pressing your feet now into the floor. Lower back flattens and your tailbone maybe lifts a tiny bit, like it peels the end of it off the floor. And then you continue like this with these soothing, familiar pelvic tilts, accessing the lumbar spine and possibly noticing a movement traveling all the way up the spine so that your head and your eyes maybe move as well. Breathe. Becoming as receptive as possible to the subtleties of this movement. It's a gentle ripple up the body. And you might sense that as you move the knees forwards, as you tilt the pelvis forwards, that your belly and chest open a little. And that as you draw your knees back and flatten the lower back, there's a condensing of the front body down towards the spine. See if you notice that for a few more rounds. And at some point, as you tilt the pelvis back, press into your feet and now begin to lift the pelvis and the bottom off the floor just a little way so you're hanging at a bit of an angle. And again, see if you can really soften the front of the pelvis, the lower belly. And notice where you're bearing weight in the body and breathe. Setu Bandhasana, a mini bridge here. Breathe. And then take a breath in, taking a breath in. And as you breathe out, gently allowing your spine to find the floor, bone by bone. Just resting a moment before we come up again, maybe a little bit higher. Or you may have come then to your edge, in which case that's where you come again, or even less. So take a tilt forwards with the pelvis, tilt it back, press into your feet, peel the back of the pelvis, and then as many vertebrae as feels right for you. And you might find you need to walk your feet in a little bit towards your bottom. And allow your chin to fall back as you bring a brightness of breath into the chest. Soften the throat and the roof of the mouth. Take a full breath in. And then on the breath out, really super slow. Allow your spine and then your sacrum to find the floor. And I'd like you to be a little bit intuitive here. Either slide your feet away to have your body long, or you might want to bring your knees in towards you with your hands into balasana. Have a very gentle rock or circle here. Then we're going to take one more variation of this bridge pose. It's a core strengthening version, or it's an all-round strengthening version. So this time we'll have our arms by our sides. And it may be that you interlace your hands underneath you for this, underneath your lower back if that is right for you, but it's not necessary. And we initiate the movement again with that tilt forwards of the pelvis. Then tilt back and press the feet, come up into your version of bridge, Setu Bandhasana. Noticing the breath, noticing the strength of the legs now. Your feet are making strong imprints as you lift your side waist and your hips. And only if this feels available to you, press more into the left foot as you lift your right foot off the floor and you bring your knee in towards you. And it may be that you can straighten the leg, maybe take the toes to the left knee. And take a couple of rounds here. We're really lifting the side waist, lifting the hips and breathing. And then taking the right foot down. If you need to rest in between sides, please do. But at some point, you're going to make a strong imprint with the right foot and lift the left knee in and continue that practice on the left side. Until you're ready to place the left foot down. If your hands are interlaced, release them, spread your shoulder blades on the floor, and then bone by bone come down. And take a moment to simply allow the back body to drop through the floor. And maybe notice if the quality of your breath has changed now a little with that effort that went into a stronger back bend. And bringing your knees in towards your chest and taking your arms out wide. Allow your knees to drop to the left. For Jatara Parivrita, gentle supine twist. And take your eyes towards the right if that's available to you. And if your right shoulder and arm aren't soft and settling into the floor, it'd be really good to place a blanket or a cushion under them so that you can let them go, because we're looking to release and become really soft now. You might take your left hand over the right knee. And breathe. And having a little check-in with yourself, where might it be possible to melt a little? Where might you be holding a little bit more tightness than's necessary for this pose? And then gently bringing your head back to neutral, lifting the right knee, then the left, and placing your feet on the floor before you come to the other side, just so to find a neutral spine. And then when you're ready, taking the pose to the other side. And similarly, just noting if you need to place some support under your left shoulder and arm. I just noticed people in the river room last week with their arms in the air, quite tense, because I don't see everything on Zoom. And it really struck me how important it is to be able to soften into the shoulder. So you might need that support beneath you. And breathe. And soften. Maybe even releasing the lower jaw from the upper jaw, just a notch. And then bringing your head back to neutral, lifting your left knee followed by the right, and placing both feet on the floor. And now just for a moment, slide your feet away and feel the whole of the body long and supported by the earth. Maybe you feel a bit different to how you felt about 15 minutes ago when we started. A little bit longer. In your own time, please meet me in a child's pose. So you could have your knees together or apart as you slide your hands, your chest forwards. We're looking to rest the forehead, so if you need to bring your hands under your forehead, please do. And take a little while to come into a sense of softness and stillness here, and quietness through the bones and joints. We're going to add a little bit of a lateral stretch here, a little bit of a side bend. So you're just going to walk your hands around to the right and allow your shoulders, your torso to come with you. Try not to lift your left buttock off the heel. And your head is in between the upper arms, hopefully. And when you've come as far as you can go, maybe take your left hand over the right hand and really drop into the left hip and shoulder and direct a few breaths into the left side of the body. And then we'll bring that around the other way, but do this very slowly, mindfully come back to the center. And from there, find your way to the left. Really dropping into the right shoulder, the right buttock. Maybe the right hand comes over the left. And feel and breathe into the right side of the body. Wonderful. And come back to neutral just for a couple of breaths. And we're going to meet kneeling in around the middle of the mat. For 3 rounds of earth salutation, just to bring a little bit of movement, a little bit of fluidity into the body. Bring your hands to your heart, maybe re-centering around your intention. And breathing and lifting up your arms. And breathing out, hands together at the top of your head. And breathing in, come up high. Maybe your pelvis moves forwards a little. And breathing out, strong abdomen now. Draw yourself slowly down to an extended child's pose, like a prayer. Breathing in, come to all fours and dip between the shoulder blades. Curl your toes under, breathe out, downward dog. You don't need to straighten your legs. Take a breath in. And then on the breath out, drop your knees. Sit back to child. Breathing in, come up high. Pelvis delicately moves forwards. And hands together, breathing out. Come down to sit on your heels. Hands to the head, hands to the heart. Breathing in, lifting your arms only, maybe opening in the chest a little. And breathing out, hands to the head. Coming up high. Extended child, exhaling. Inhaling to all fours, really dip between the shoulder blades. Curling your toes under, downward dog on the exhale. Can you find a rhythm here? Take a breath in. And breathe out, drop your knees. Sit back to child. Breathing in, come up high. And breathing out, hands to the head. Sitting back down, hands to the heart. We'll take one more. Lovely to see you, Gila, again. Inhale, arms up high. Exhale, hands to the head. Inhale, come up high. Exhale, child. Inhale to all fours, dip between the shoulder blades. Curl your toes under. Exhaling, downward dog. Take a breath in. Exhale, drop your knees. Release to child. And inhaling, coming up high. Last time. And exhale, hands to the head. Sitting back down on your heels. Hands to your heart. Taking a moment, maybe eyes closed here to feel the body. You could drop your hands to your thighs. Maybe you notice a lightness, a brightness around the chest, collarbones. Maybe like Gila, you've got the sun full on the front of your body, so the lightness comes from that. And then meeting me lying on your bellies, hands underneath your forehead, and see if you can bring your toes toward each other and the heels fall out to the sides. This is Makrasana, crocodile pose. Just a little bit of rotation in the hips and really softening in the belly here. And breathe. Feeling that connection with the floor through the front of the body. Noticing the quality of your breath now. And then bringing your feet and your legs together and taking your hands to your lower back so that your fingertips are pointing down towards your heels. You have a sense of a little bit of a rolling of the shoulders, a drawing in of the shoulder blades. I'd like you to really press through the toes, the pubic bone, so the lower body is connecting with the floor. And you probably feel as you do this that your gluteal muscles, your buttocks, start engaging. You'll feel that under your hands. And then as you breathe in, peeling your chest off the floor only as much as feels right for you. So there's no strain. Have a little pause here and then breathe out, come down. I'd just like you to, in your own time, take a few more of these gentle supine back bends. This is a version of Shalabhasana, locust pose. One of the reasons for having the hands on the buttocks is so that we notice the muscles that are engaging. Maybe just doing one more. Very good for strengthening the muscles up and down the spine. And then bringing your hands underneath your forehead. Maybe rocking your bottom a bit from side to side. And I'd like you to bring your attention to the space between your shoulder blades, imagining, and I know you've heard me say this so often now, imagining that you have a really long neck. And with your hands pasted to your forehead and the lower body really pasted to the floor, begin to peel off the chest again, but with this long neck. Pause and then come down and notice if the range of movement here has changed now compared to the first back bend with the hands on the buttocks. Take 2 or 3 of these. And then next time you come down, you might like to rest on one side of the head and take your arms down beside you, palms facing down. Just have a rest. And then coming to your forehead, and if you can, interlacing your hands on your lower back. Some of you might not find this available, in which case you do the version again with the hands on your buttocks. But if your hands are interlaced, I want you to roll your shoulders up and around and down and draw the hands past the tailbone towards your heels. And wait a moment here, pressing your lower body into the mat again. And we'll try coming up on an exhale. So take a breath in. And on the exhale, use your hands to draw the chest up. And now we have much more going on around the front of the shoulders, the shoulder blades. This is snake pose, and I can't remember the name in Sanskrit. And you can either stay for a few breaths or you might want to release and come back in again. It's quite intense. Just gives us a lot more to go with in the shoulders. Breathe. And then when you come down, release your hands and rest your head on the other side. Maybe take your heels out again into Makrasana. It's just very soothing for the sacrum to take the heels out. It's great for the sacroiliac joint. And in your own time, really in your own time, creep your way back to a child's pose to soothe out any compression in the lower back in particular, but also the shoulder blades, the neck. And breathe. Very still, very soft. And then meeting me on all fours and curling your toes under and settling your bottom back towards your heels. And allowing your bones to support you. Feel the arms, the wrists, but not pushing here. And beginning to lift your knees off the floor and take your heels towards the floor into a downward dog. And coming in and out of this downward dog just 2 or 3 times. Trying to bear the weight through the legs, not through the arms so much. Arms are just there to support you. And then one time you come up into your Adho Mukha Svanasana, your downward dog, you might like to stay a few breaths, have a little move around. And then we walk our feet in towards our hands, slowly. Coming into a standing forward fold, Uttanasana. And from here, rolling up slowly. So we're really caring for our spine, bend in the knees. Gradually unfurl. And take a moment to enjoy simply standing. Feel through the feet. And coming to face the long end of your mat. And taking your feet quite wide apart for some standing poses now. We'll take the right foot out, the left foot in. And then you're going to face the long end of your mat and take your arms out wide with your palms facing up. And all we're going to do here is take a breath in, and as we breathe out, bend into that front knee and notice how my torso is vertical. I'm not reaching to the right. It's partly why I want you to look long ways. And we'll move in and out of that warrior two, straightening the front leg and then bending back in. And at some point, turn your palms down and take your gaze over the front fingers and stay with the knee bent. Back leg is strong. And breathe. And we're looking to really soften in the shoulders. Allow the bones of the legs to support the body. And then turning your right palm up. On a breath in, straighten the front leg as you lift the right arm up. Left hand down the back leg. And then breathe out, come into your reverse warrior. Maybe looking down the back leg. And breathe. Inhaling, re-find your warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. You might want to straighten the leg in between if you're finding this tiring. And then we come over to Pasvakonasana, side angle pose. And all we're going to do is flow between these three poses. It's just lovely to find a bit of a rhythm. So coming up to warrior two. Coming into your reverse warrior. Refinding warrior two. And then side angle pose. Refind your warrior two. So straighten the front leg whenever you need to. You're feeling a strain in the knee and then come back in. Reverse warrior. Side angle pose. More two, one more round. So come back to your warrior two. Find your reverse warrior. Find your warrior two. Side angle pose. Beautiful. And then simply lift up, face the front, the long end of your mat, feet parallel now. Feel the body. So much more opening to the hips, a bit more stamina for the legs. And take the left foot out, the right foot in. And we start by facing the long end of the mat, palms facing up. This helps release the shoulders. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, bend into that front knee. And take a few rounds like this, simply feeling your way in. Spine is straight up, plumb line. At some point, turn your palms to face down and your eyes come over the front left fingers. And choose if you want to move or if you want to stay now for a couple of breaths. Virabhadrasana 2. Turning the left palm up, straightening the front leg, inhale. Exhale, reverse warrior. Breathe. Drawing that back inner thigh up into the bone. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, side angle. Take a couple of breaths to feel the pose before we flow again. Finding your way to warrior 2. Finding your way to reverse warrior. Finding your way to warrior 2. Side angle pose. Warrior 2. Remember, you can always straighten the front knee if you need to. Reverse warrior. Warrior 2. Side angle. And then from here, Gently pressing up, coming to face the long end of your mat. Hands to your hips, heels out, toes in. A little softness in the knees, maybe even bent quite a bit. Inhale and exhale, hinging forwards halfway down only. I want you to really find length in the spine and feel it. You can even take your hands to your buttocks to feel how you can separate your sitting bones here, because often people say they don't know what I mean. Take a breath in and then come all the way down. Slide your hands down your legs. Maybe bring your hands under your face, in between your feet, if that's right for you. And rather than staying rigid here, have a little move around, maybe bend into one knee and then the other. Before you come into a little bit of stillness, a few deeper breaths. And breathe, allowing the upper body to pour from the pelvis. Free and loose. Taking a full breath in and a long breath out. And we're going to come back the way we came. So taking your hands out in front so you come to a half wide angled forward fold. Taking your hands to your hips, softening in the knees. Take a breath in, and on the breath out, strong legs, strong abdomen, come all the way up. And please step your feet together. Hope you're feeling good. It's a miracle yoga, isn't it? Woke up feeling quite tired, and already I feel very fresh. So I hope you're feeling the same. Now you might, I didn't warn you, but you might want a belt for this next part of the practice, belt with a loop at the end of it. It's not essential by any means. Just keep it handy. And we're going to take a few variations of Natarajasana, dancer's pose. And if you need to hold on to a wall, because it's a balance, that's absolutely fine with me. And we'll start by really grounding down through the left leg. Creating that contact through the foot. And at some point, bringing the right knee into the hand up in front of you for this first version. This is just to calibrate sense of balance, and your eyes are softly fixed on one point in front of you. Just notice how the balance is for you today. Draw that right hip, that right shoulder back a little. Take a full breath in, right hand back to the hip, and breathe out, drop the foot. So let's just do that to the other side, just to get a sense of what's going on. Right leg engaged. Left knee into the hand. Breathe. And then drop the foot. Second stage, going to lift the right knee, but then immediately see if you can grab hold of your foot behind you. And it's important in terms of protecting your knees that your two knees are close together and your heel is coming in towards your buttock. Maybe here you can lift up the left arm. And having it, and you're drawing that right knee down and trying to get a little bit of length in the front of the thigh. balance, strong abdomen, steady breath. Take a full breath in and breathing out gently, release. Bring that right knee up in front of you if you can. It's just building stamina. And then drop the foot down. Second stage of our Natarajasana. Let's take it to the left. Left knee comes forwards, grab hold of the foot. Draw your knees and thighs together. Maybe lift up the right arm. And keep dropping that left knee down to create space in the front of the thigh, the front of the hip. And breathe. Take a full breath in and then gently release. Some of you have been doing a lot of Natarajasanas over the last 2 weeks. Third variation. So all the way along here, you choose a variation where you find you've come to your limit and you maybe play around there a bit more, or you come with me to the next stage. We're taking the right foot behind, lifting up the left arm. That sense of a little pull of the knee down and opening in the front of the hip and the thigh. And maybe you bring the torso forwards now, but your heel is still in towards your buttock. And at some point, maybe you begin to push your foot into your hand. Pull your hand into your foot. And we've got a little back bend going on. Absolutely fine to bend a little in the standing knee. See if you can find a uniform curve in the back bend. So you're not over scrunching the lower back. When you're ready, gently coming out, not like me, coming out steadily, maybe even bringing the knee up in front of you before dropping the foot. Let's take that to the other side. Always have a little shake of your feet and ankles if they're getting tired, obviously. Holding your left foot, arm is lifted. At some point, bringing the torso forwards, but heel is still in towards the buttock to begin with, and only when you found where you're going to stay, do you begin to push the foot and pull the foot and bring yourself into a bit of a back bend. Keep drawing the knee into the center, try not to let it move out to the left. Breathe. And then we gently come out. Notice the breath, little shake. If you have a belt, we're going to play with one final variation and then that is, and it's time to unwind. It's just quite fun. People in the river room have said they really enjoy doing this. So if you've got your belt, take the loop around your right ankle. You're going to hold the belt with the right hand behind, in fact, with both hands, excuse me, behind your head. So the belt is coming up the back of the body. And you're going to root down through the left foot and leg. And then begin to walk your hands down the belt to lift the foot. Helps draw you into a little bit of a back bend. And then maybe come forwards with the chest. Have a little play with that. Some people say it helps their stability. Some people say it gives much more of a sense of a back bend. And it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Some people won't want to do this at all. And have a little play around and take it to the other side when you're ready. Always breathing. And then slowly, if you're still in Natarajasana, on the left, slowly coming out, removing your belt. And we'll stand a moment together, quietly, maybe eyes closed. Taking one hand across the chest and one hand across the belly, and just noticing now the after effect of a challenging standing balance with a back bend, Natarajasana. And meeting me in your own way, sitting. And I'd like to end, before we come into Shavasana, with a pose that I find very grounding myself. It's a version of Gomukhasana. So you're going to have your right leg long and bring your left leg over the top. You might need to sit on something. If you're able to, bring the right foot around, but in such a way that you're not kind of keeling over and all contorted. It's much better to release the lower leg if that is the case, because you want to be able to really sink down through the base of the body, feel the floor. And this may be where you want to stay. I'm going to give you a few variations. You might want to stay spine upright. You might like to take your hands out in front of you and fold forwards. Final version, you might like to add eagle arms, Garudasana arms to this pose, taking your arms out wide. And we bring the right arm over the top in a hug. And from the hug, lift your elbows out in front of you, wrap your forearms maybe around each other. And have a little bit of a wriggle around the shoulders. And drop them away from the ears. We have a sense of moving down towards the earth. And I'll leave you quietly for a few breaths here. Taking a full breath in and use the breath out to gently release from the pose, changing sides. So the left leg is underneath, either long or folded. Take a moment to really drop through the sitting bones in the hips. Maybe you stay here. Maybe your hands come down in front of you. You fold forwards. Or maybe you join me in Garudasana, arms wide. Left arm over the top. And finding your variation of eagle arms. You could have a half version, which I should have said on the other side.
a little wriggle and then come into stillness. And allow every exhalation to take you deeper towards the earth. And in your own time, releasing from the pose. And doing whatever you need to do to settle into Shavasana. Make sure you're warm enough. And if you set yourself an intention for this practice, now bringing it back into the space of your heart, as you allow the whole of your body to open to sensation. A subtle feather-like breath. And it may be you would like to stay longer in your Shavasana. But if you're ready to move on with your day, taking a few slightly deeper breaths. Feeling the rise and fall of your abdomen with the breath. Introducing, when you're ready, any gentle movements into the body. Maybe a little stretch, a little roll around onto one side before you come up to sitting, hands in front of your heart space, eyes closed, just to feel the effects of the practice now. Tension in the heart space. And taking a full breath in towards the heart. And breathing out, bowing your head chin to your chest. And allowing your breath in to lift your head gently, to open your eyes into the morning. Namaste. Thank you very, very much for joining me.